A couple of days ago, we read the epistle lesson for the fourth Sunday of Advent in Year A. It sounded like an odd selection, at least at first, but it came to make sense. It was the very opening sentences of Paul's letter to the Romans, which includes the usual formalities and pleasantries that open any letter, but we found that hidden within these verses were important elements about Advent: the disclosure of God's eternal promises, and the inclusion of the Gentiles into the promise through Christ. Today we take up the epistle lesson for the fourth Sunday of Advent in Year B, and we find another oddity. This time, the reading is from the very end of Romans, the last 3 verses of the letter, in fact, which in an odd way makes for a kind of interesting symmetry. But as with the reading from the beginning of Romans, we find another important gem in these 3 short verses. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Friday, December 24th, 2021. Just as most letters we write begin with certain formalities and pleasantries, so also do most letters end with certain predictable formalities. That is, once we've said what we needed to say regarding the business of the letter, we often send our greetings to other members of a household or office, and then we give some sort of sign-off, usually with the words sincerely or best wishes or even love or something like that. Paul also includes such pleasantries, but since this letter was written to a congregation he had not yet visited and did not know, his final pleasantries and sign-off are a little different from his norm. It's more like what you might hear from a preacher like me at the end of worship or at the close of a sermon. It's what we call an ascription of praise. Here's what he says. Now to God, who is able to strengthen you according to my gospel and the proclamation of Jesus Christ, according to the revelation of the mystery that was kept secret for long ages, but is now disclosed, and through the prophetic writings is made known to all the Gentiles, according to the command of the eternal God, to bring about the obedience of faith, to the only wise God, through Jesus Christ, to whom be the glory forever. Amen. I suspect you already noticed the words I'm going to focus on today because you now know what to listen for. Paul's ascription of praise focuses on what God has done in Jesus Christ. Like the words from the beginning of Romans, Paul is interested in the fact that in Jesus Christ, the Gentiles, that's us, have now been included in God's eternal promises. Now in this passage, Paul adds one more important element. For Paul, the coming of Christ is not just the fulfillment of the promise, it is the revelation of a mystery. Speaking as a good and faithful Jew, Paul could see what we can't, that the promises revealed through the prophets were only partially visible at the time. What he means is that no one could fully understand at the time what the prophets meant in their various oracles about a coming Messiah. But now in Jesus Christ, the words of the prophets make fuller, more complete sense. It's much like what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 13, now we see in a mirror dimly. God's purposes were revealed through the prophets, but now in Jesus Christ, we see what those promises mean. We see now, as it were, face to face. Tomorrow, our preparations are over. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do, this day and in all the days ahead.